to all the participants and faculty members. I hope after having a delicious lunch, everyone will be enthusiastically and actively will participate in this session. So for the next technical session, we have with us today Dr. Nisarg Gandhewar, Assistant Professor AI, Gandhewar College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur. May I please request Professor Ashish Mumor to please welcome our research person with a memento. So you may continue.
Okay, so very good afternoon all. So today's topic would be the challenges in data analytics. So this field is not new to all, but today we are going to discuss what are the challenges that we face when we work in the field of data analytics. So here, these are the different points I'm going to discuss in this particular session. We'll start with why we need to do data analysis, what exactly the data analysis, what are the different types are there, then what are the different tools that you can use for performing this data analysis, and if you want to do data analysis, how can you do it by using different Python libraries, what are the different tools available, what are the different challenges are there, and what are the future trends, followed by the case study. So I will demonstrate one case study how to perform data analysis manually as well as automated way. So I will demonstrate one Python library through which you can do automated case study, means automated generation of data analysis. So that case study I will demonstrate. So let's start with this. So we know that data analysis is a basic part. Maybe you will consider it machine learning or deep learning. Currently, we are living in the era where we have the generative AI. So that's why I just wanted to correlate all this thing. So I know that everyone aware about this, but I'm just recalling this thing for you all so that you can connect with this data analysis. So we know that why we are doing this AI, because in this artificial intelligence, the main objective is to embed the human intelligence into the machine. Now the next question arises, how we can do that? So for that purpose, we require some set of techniques. So that set of techniques would be machine learning and it would be deep learning. So machine learning is also set of techniques that you can use to achieve the intelligence into the machine. And if you go for advanced techniques, then you can go for deep learning. And now currently, that is a buzzword in the market, that is generative AI. So everyone aware about this. We have this Chat GPT, Bard, and even today, Google Gemini is also available. So this is a part of generative AI. It is also one of the deep learning technique which intends to generate something. So that generation could be text, it could be video, it could be audio, or it could be the text. So ChatGPT is one of the example where you generate the text. Similarly, other platforms are there. So majorly generative is AI. Generative AI is used for that purpose. Then we also have the LLM, that is the large language model. So we can say that this ChatGPT is also one of the LLM. BART is also one of the LLM. So why we call it as an LLM? So because this kind of model is trained on very huge data set, right? So in order to get more accuracy, that this kind of model is trained on very high high level of data set, and there they mostly use the transfer learning concept, because if you want to customize your own application by using this generative AI, so for that purpose it's not possible for all of us to customize it and to do it on that many high level of data set, because it requires a lot of resources, it requires a lot of time. So for that purpose, what they are doing, they are pre-training this model on huge data set and they make it available for you. And by using the concept of transfer learning, you can just uh, remove the output layer and you can add your own layer. So there transfer learning is used. So this kind of models are already trained on the very high level data set. So that we call it as a LLM. And then we have this GPT, that is a part of LLM, then chat GPT. So this is the complete flow. So here where the data analysis lies. So data analysis is very important phase and it is a very first phase. If you want to go for machine learning, if you want to go for deep learning, if you want to go for generative AI, so first phase would be the data analysis. You need to analyze the data. Your data is given to you, you need to analyze it and you want to just extract the information. So for all these things, the data analysis is the base. That's why we are discussing here the data analysis. So now we just talk about why data analysis. Why do we require data analysis? So let's say I just take a simple example. So this is the simple data set, very small data set I'm showing you. So can you tell me what kind of knowledge that you can extract from this? Let's say if we consider the scenario that there will be a college and as a principal, I'm looking for this data. So what kind of knowledge I can extract from this? Subject marks, okay. Subject marks it is showing, but what kind of knowledge you can extract and how will you take the decision? Means just look at this. You are playing the role of principal, and you got this data set. So what kind of knowledge you can extract from this? Yes. Yes, you can find out how many students got the highest marks, lowest mark, how many students have failed. So ultimately, here you will apply. So now see here, the in the next slide. Okay, so here you can make use of statistics, right? So here you can see I just calculate the average. So as a principal, let's say I want to do the analysis. So I will what I will do, I will call the math teacher and I will ask them just pay more attention as the average score mark scored by the student is less, right? So you can apply the statistical analysis. So when you work in the field of data analysis, statistics play a very important role. So there you come to know about the measures of central tendency where we have mean mode median. Then you also have this the standard deviation or all. So this kind of concepts you can apply on this and you can extract this what is the average mark scored by student in every subject. So accordingly, that principle as a principle you can take the decision on which particular subject you have to focus more. That means this is the knowledge I am extracting. So this is expected. So this is the one use case. Let's say if we talk about the another case, let's say Amazon. We know that Amazon is one of the e-commerce industry. So they want to increase their sale. So they already have the data set or database for billions of customers, but still they want to improve their business. So what they can do, they can use various statistical analysis, various kinds of techniques, and they just found that from particular part of the country they are getting the less number of orders, right? So this is the knowledge that they have extracted from this, and now they are taking the decision for this part of the country. They will provide more offers, they will provide more discount so that their business can be improved. So this is how data science can be used in any of the field, and their data analysis play a very important role. That's why we are learning this data analysis concept. So now why data analysis? So as I told you, if you are working with machine learning, you are working with deep learning, you are working with a generative AI, transformers. So all this require the this particular data analysis because without analysis, your data should not be in a proper format because the data is present in very raw form. We want to bring it in a appropriate form. Let's say if we think about that, can we put crude oil directly into the vehicle? Obviously not. That crude oil has to be transformed into the petrol and then we put it into the vehicle. Similarly, if the data you are collecting, because in the data analysis, as a part of data engineer, because when we work in the field of data analytics, when we work in the field of data science, there are a number of profiles are there. So very first, there comes the data engineer whose main role is to just collect the data from multiple sources. And we know that nowadays the data is completely diverse. Okay, some of the data is present in the cloud, some of the data is present in the database, SQL database, NoSQL database, flat file, Excel file. So my data is scattered in different places. So the role of data engineer is to bring the data, collect the data, and put it in a single file. And then it comes the role of data analysis, who will just filter out this data because when you got the raw data, it contains a lot of anomalies are there. So maybe you will find some missing values, you may find the outliers, you may find the bias present in the data set. So you need to apply some set of techniques to filter the data, to bring the data from raw form to the appropriate form. So that's why this data analysis play a very important role in any of the project when you are working with the data sets. So for decision making, just I give an example. Let's say that principal want to make a decision that which particular faculty requires some kind of improvement. So he can analyze the data and ask for this. Let's say Amazon, I given the example that for which part of the country they should provide more offers, more discount. So that knowledge they have extracted by using data analysis. So ultimately, for any business, decision making is important, and in order to make the decision, the knowledge is required. So that knowledge you can extract from this. That's why we require a data analysis. So now here we know that what is data analysis. So it's a process of inspecting, cleaning, just I told you, converting from raw form to the appropriate form. We are cleaning it, we are transforming, we are modeling, and with the goal of discovering some useful information. The knowledge, the facts, the figures that you need to extract from the given data set. So ultimately, we are converting this raw data to this particular filter data. So for that purpose, we are using this data analysis. So it's a very simple process of cleaning and transforming from raw level to high level. Now, what are the steps that we generally follow in the field of data analysis? So, very first, we have to define the problem, right? So, just now we have taken the example of e-commerce industry. So, my problem would be that Amazon wants to improve their business. So, that is what a problem, right? Now, next thing is collect the relevant data. Now, that data can be present at a different location. Nowadays, we are dealing with unstructured data mostly, right? Depending upon your problem statement, your data would be there. The data is present in an unstructured format. Okay, so previously the data is present only in the structured format. But if you consider the today's scenario, the data is totally present in a unstructured format. That means the data is present in terms of blocks, in terms of comments, audio, video. This kind of data is there, and data is present at a different location. If we are working in the sensor, so that sensor is also collecting some data. Even in our mobile also, lot many data is generated. So lot many sources are there where data is generated. So what is the challenge? Extracting the data from multiple sources and integrating it. So that is the role of actually the data engineer. And here also, while collecting the data, you can use the web scraping. Means let's say different websites are there. So from this websites, you want to fetch the data. So for that purpose, you can use Python. Suppose you are using Python there, you can use this beautiful SOAP library, and we call it as a web scraping. Web scraping is the process where we extract the data from multiple websites and we just gather it and prepare our data set. So that data engineer is mainly responsible for collecting the data from multiple sources and just storing it in a single file. After that, you need to clean the data. So that process we call it as a data wrangling process. We can say data cleaning process. There are multiple terms are there. Means when you enter into the field of data science, these terms are very much synonymous with each other. Sometimes you can say it is a EDA, that is exploratory data analysis. Sometimes you will say it's a process of data wrangling. Sometimes you will say the data cleaning. So there, what you are doing? Ultimately, you are removing the duplicate value. You are handling the null values. You are handling the outliers value. If my data is not in a range, so I will apply feature scaling, because it's very simple. That suppose for my algorithm, I am providing the data set in one column. Let's say we have two attributes. One attribute is the age of the person, and second one is the salary. So obviously the values of salary are greater as compared to the age. So if you provide this data as input to the algorithm, your algorithm is biased towards the salary because salary value is higher. So for that purpose, what you need to do, you need to apply feature scaling just to scale the data in the range of 0 to 1 so that your algorithm will not treat this value. So you need to remove the bias. So this kind of techniques you need to apply while cleaning the data. And then you can apply relevant analysis method. Different methods are there in the EDA. Feature extractions are there. If you found that if your data set is very large, it is very complex, then in that case, you can use dimensionality reduction algorithm, just like a PCA, LDA, this kind of algorithm you can use to reduce the dimensionality. Dimensionality is simple thing. Uh, let's take a very simple example. In your data set, if you have hundreds of attributes, okay? So if we provide this all attributes as an input to that particular model, then that model can also get confused, or it will not provide that much good output. So for that purpose, you can apply the dimensionality reduction technique and reduce the number of attributes. So there you can use this, and finally you can just visualize the data with the help of various visualization tools. So if you want to do it through Python, you can use the libraries like Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly, this kind of libraries you can use. But if you want to use the specialized tool, you can go for Power BI, Tableau is there, SAS is there. So this kind of tool you can use. So it's totally depend upon the client or industry where you are working. So as per the requirement, you can select the visualization tool. So these are the steps involved in the process of data analysis. The main role of data analysis is to prepare the data. Okay, and once your data is prepared, you just provide this as an input to the algorithm so that you can just train on it. So these are the steps involved. Then if we talk about the different types of data analysis, so majorly there are four types are there. Because in case of data analysis, what you are doing, you are playing the role of inspection. You are just inspecting the data. So if you are doing descriptive analysis, so the main role of descriptive analysis, it will tell you what has happened in the that particular problem. Okay. So let's say if we talk about the again Amazon, so let's say what happened means maybe we just predict that Amazon sale is drop. Okay. So descriptive analysis will help us to determine what has happened in that. So there you can use the metrics. Okay. So depending upon the type of the model, maybe it's a regression model, it's a classification model, you will use some metrics. Okay. So let's say if you are working on a classification problem where I want to just classify whether given object is a dog or cat. So there I will use the attribute as a accuracy, right? So this descriptive analysis will help us to know what has happened in that particular industry or in that particular region. Then diagnostic analysis would be there, which help us to find out why such a thing has happened. Okay, if we consider again the example of Amazon, that why the sale of Amazon is decreased in a particular quarter, right? So that you can do with the help of diagnostic analysis. So you need to find the reasons why it is happening. Then after that, there will be a predictive analysis where you are just predicting what will happen in the future. Means you are just predicting. Let's say Amazon want to predict in next month what would be the count of the customer. Okay, so for that purpose you can use the predictive analysis, and then finally you can use prescriptive analysis. Then in prescriptive analysis, actually it is providing the suggestion. So if we talk about the recommendation system, so now we know that we generally go to offline shop. So their salesperson is there who is helping us in purchasing the product. But when we go to the online, so is there any person available? No. So we require virtual salesperson. That virtual salesperson is nothing but recommendation system. Let's say YouTube is using recommendation system, or let's say Flipkart is also another e-commerce industry. Let's say I want to purchase a laptop, so I'm just searching for laptop in a Flipkart. So there I found that Flipkart is giving me the suggestion along with the laptop, I can also purchase the bag. I can also purchase the mouse. So how this recommendation is coming? So continuously that system is monitoring the person who is purchasing the laptop is also purchasing the bag, also purchasing the cover. So based on this, it is giving me the recommendation. So it acts as a virtual salesman. When we work in this online platform, nobody is there to guide you, but there is a recommendation system which ultimately helps to improve the business. Even in the YouTube. So why YouTube is giving recommendation? Because we know that YouTube is providing all the video free of cost. They are earning through the advertisement. But when they can earn more money, when you spend more time on YouTube, and when you spend more time, when you get actually where you are interested. That's why let's say I'm interested in data analysis. I'm just searching the videos in the YouTube. So if any new video comes, that YouTube is giving you the recommendation that this video you can watch. So it will increase. So this is the strategy and that will happen. So prescriptive analysis will help to achieve that. So ultimately for any business, decision making is important and for decision making, knowledge is required. So that knowledge we are extracting from this data with the help of data analysis. So that is the main thing here. Next thing would be what are the tools? Suppose you want to do the data analysis, what kind of tool you can do? So you can use multiple tools here, okay, as per your comfort, as per the requirement, you can use. So you can go for R. R language is generally used where we have more statistical problem. For statistical analysis, R is the best tool. But if we talk about the Python, if you want to do general purpose programming, then Python is better. So that thing you can do with the help of R also, you can do with the Python also. Even if we are underestimating the Excel, but Excel is also a very powerful tool that we can use for the data analysis. It has lot of functionalities are there. So that we can use. Then I'm just talking about the specialized tools. These are the specialized tools, right? Tableau is there, Power BI is there, SAS is there. So all these are the visualization tools are there. So depending upon the industry, depending upon the problem statement, different tools is been used here. Now, next one would be what kind of skill set is required by data analyst. Generally, doing the data analysis is a role of data analyst. If somebody wants to become a data analyst, so very first kind of skill you should require, you should have knowledge of SQL and NoSQL because most of our data is present in the database. And nowadays, as compared to SQL, we are using NoSQL data, right? So in traditionally, see Oracle is there, MySQL is there, SQL Server is there. So all these are the SQL databases. But nowadays, this NoSQL database use is increased. So you can able to fetch the data from these databases. So that is the first skill you require. Then you require one programming language. Okay, because in order to do the analysis of the data, you require a programming language. So as per your comfort, you can select the R, you can select the Python, even you can do with the MATLAB also. Then next one would be once you do analysis, you need to visualize the data. You want to develop your dashboard where you can show the analysis stats and all. So for that purpose, you can use Python also, you can use R also, or you can do it with the help of the specialized tool like this Tableau and Power BI. Then you also require Microsoft Excel and then critical thinking. This is important because you are analyzing the data. So what kind of knowledge you can extract? It's totally depend upon your thinking because when you work in industry, so let's say one data set is given to you. So the role of data analyst is to extract the knowledge, okay, and present it to the client that this is the data set given to you, and now I have extracted this knowledge, so that knowledge presentation would be there. Then client will finalize it and then they go for data modeling. That's why the role of data analyst is very important. So that's why here communication skill is also required. Okay, because the data analyst needs to represent his research that what kind of analysis he has done, what kind of knowledge he has extracted. I will demonstrate one case study where I will show you that how we can extract the data. And obviously maths and stats, which are inseparable part of this. So all this knowledge is required or skill set is required if somebody wants to enter into the field of data analysis. The next thing would be what are the Python libraries? So since Python is very general purpose programming language and mostly used, and so this kind of libraries are very much useful. One is NumPy, which is mainly used to deal with multi-dimensional array. Then scientific Python, which is used for different kinds of calculation. Then if you are dealing with the data science, then these pandas will be there. If you want to apply machine learning algorithm, so all these algorithms are available in the scikit-learn. Then you want to visualize the data. So for that purpose, you can use Matplotlib, Bokeh, Seaborn, Plotly. So all these library used for data visualization. And finally, you can also use stats model for hypothesis testing. Anyone aware about this hypothesis testing? This is also part of data analysis actually. Okay, I'm just telling. In the hypothesis testing, what we are doing, see, I will give a very simple example. After every election, there will be exit poll. So we know that in the exit poll, they are not taking the suggestion of all the people. Let's say total 1 lakh people has participated in a poll, and after exit poll, they will decide the sample size. Let's say they have decided the sample size of 1,000. So they will take the suggestion of 1,000 people, and based on this, they are giving their prediction that this party will win. Same thing is applied in this hypothesis testing. In case of hypothesis testing, we are dealing with the sample because population is very big. We cannot able to work on the population data. So for that purpose, we will select some sample data. We will work on it. We derive some conclusion, and same conclusion we apply on the population. So that's why we are using this hypothesis testing. So in hypothesis testing, there are a number of techniques are available. You can use this chi-square test, ANOVA test, Z-test, T-test. So this statistical analysis has to be done. When we work in the industry, first of all, they will not start developing the project. The procedure would be, first of all, they will do the POC, that is the proof of concept. Statistically, they need to prove that how this model will help us to solve this problem. If that model is approved, that POC is approved, then they go for the development. So this is the process. That's why this statistical analysis play a very important role. So these are the Python libraries that you can use. Now we discuss about the challenges. When we are working in this data analysis, what are the different challenges that we face? So very first challenge would be uh, while collecting the data, because we know that data collection is a very first step. So as I told you, our nowadays our data is dispersed in multiple sources. Cloud is there, sensors is there, Notepad is there, Excel is there, SQL database, NoSQL database. So from all these sources, you need to collect the data. So in that case, maybe you will face the problem that your data is inconsistent or it's incomplete. Let's say we are collecting the data of students. So let's say we ask student to fill the registration form. So that case we may face a problem that they will not enter, let's say, pin code of their city. Let's say they will not enter their city as well. So this kind of missing data would be there. Or mistakenly, let's say they want to enter the percentage, or let's say marks. So by mistakenly, I need to put the mark as a 70, but I just put one more zero. So it becomes 700. So that 700 would not be the mark. So that we call it as an outlier. Okay. So if there is an outlier in your data set, if you apply the algorithm, you will not get the performance properly. So you need to filter it out. So when we are collecting the data, you will face this kind of problem. Then data privacy and security concern, that is the very biggest challenge, because when you work on this sensitive sensitive projects, they will sign the NDA, non-disclosure agreement for that, because the data is very crucial and they don't want to share with anyone. That's why they're doing. So security privacy, that is also important. Then the quality data, then challenges in data cleaning. So we know that we are collecting the data. So there we face the problem of duplicate data. Sometimes we find that some of the rows are duplicated, some of the rows are missing. So we need to handle that. So there is a challenge in cleaning also. So sometimes you want to apply, you want to just remove the outlier. Means let's say I want to remove the outlier. First of all, I need to detect what are the entries are there, which are the outlier. But sometimes when you work in this kind of project, you will find that generally for outlier handling, we are using flooring and capping method. But sometimes after applying this flooring and capping method also, you are not able to remove the outlier. So in that case, you will go for another method. In that case, you will go for Z-score method. You can go for replacing the value with a mean. Suppose it's a numerical value, you will replace with mean. Suppose it's a categorical value, you cannot use mean, you can go for code. So this kind of thing you need to decide. So this is again the challenge. The challenge is selecting the right tool. That is also very important. That because we just discussed, there are n number of tools are available. So suppose somebody asks me to do the data analysis. So now the first question will be there, what kind of tool I should use, whether I should go for specialized tool, whether I should go for Python, whether I should go for Excel. So it's totally depend upon your knowledge, your comfort and requirement. In every case, every tool is not useful. So it's totally depend upon the problem statement. Let's say somebody wants that the visualization would be very good. Okay, he want to design a dashboard which is very much attractive, but their constraint would be there. Let's say client will say that no, I don't want to pay the money. So obviously you cannot go for Tableau because Tableau is a proprietary tool. So in that case, you can go for Power BI. So these are the different factors that you need to take into consideration while selecting the right tools. So for that purpose, a selection of right tool is important. Next, extracting the meaningful insights from the complex data. So again, if you are doing it manually, you require the knowledge. But if you don't want to do, you want that it should be automated. So I will discuss one library that is Pandas profiling. So majorly I work in Python. So I just demonstrate one library called as a Pandas profiling, through which you can automate your data analysis process. Some limitations are there, but still it helps us to generate the data automatically. So that you can use, and addressing the bias. I just talk about that. Means when you have the data, so always there is a problem of bias because the scale of the data is different. I just discussed the example that age and the salary. So for that purpose, you need to apply the concept of feature scaling. So all these challenges you will face in the data analysis. So here, that is a important thing. If you put the garbage data, obviously your output is garbage. If you are not providing the good quality data to the algorithm, you will not expect, you cannot expect the good performance. So that is a very simple thing. So the solution would be you need to focus on data cleaning. So most of the time, generally what we are doing, we are applying algorithm and we are expecting the performance. So most of the time we face the problem that we are not getting the exact output or exact performance that we want. The reason is that we are not filtering our data properly. If we are not filtering our data properly, then we will not get the good output. So ultimately, provide the good quality data, your algorithm will provide good quality output. Next thing would be picking the right people. As I told you, when you enter into this field, lot many options are there. But as per your requirement, depending upon the complexity of your problem, client's requirement, you need to select the right tool. Then next one would be protecting the data. That is again important. If you are working on NDA projects, so protection is very important. So this is another challenge to protect this data. Now telling the data story. This is again nowadays this is in the bus. Storytelling means whatever the data set is given to you, based on this you need to create a story. Means you want to extract the knowledge. So I will show you one case study where I will tell you how we can generate this storytelling. Means storytelling is what we need to extract the facts, okay, and we need to correlate all these things and we just convey it because storytelling is important when this data set has a given to the data analyst, and now data analyst has to represent the knowledge to the client that what knowledge he has extracted from this data set and what we can give it to this further for modeling. So for their storytelling is very important. So generally for that, Tableau is a very good tool that it can do. Next thing would be what are the future trends? Future trends in data analytics. So auto ML, that is again a very important thing. So just told you that auto ML is what you just provide the data set as an input directly, and it will generate the automated analysis for you. So I'm just demonstrating one that is Pandas profiling. Then blockchain analytics, analyzing the blockchain data because blockchain data is mostly related to the transaction. So analyzing the data, extracting the knowledge from this. This is again the trending. Then next one would be the graph analytics. Okay, because many graphs are there when we work in the field of networking, transportation. Lot many graphs are generated. So the knowledge you need to extract from this graph, so that is graph analytics. Then continuous intelligence. That means you are working on real-time data. If we take an example of share market. So in case of share market, continuously data is updating. So simultaneously that the data should generate some visualization so that client can see this and accordingly can take a decision. So working on real-time data is also again very important as far as the share market is concerned, where second data is important. So at that time you need to visualize this data with the help of dashboard. So that's why this continuous intelligence is there. The next one would be the explainable AI. Actually, it's a part of generative AI. If we work in the deep learning, so in case of deep learning, okay, uh, everyone using ChatGPT, but do you know how many hidden layers are there in the ChatGPT model? We don't know, right? So explainable, generally when we work with the deep learning, that training information and the number of layers information is totally hidden from the user. We didn't get to know which model is used, which weight is used, and how you reach to the conclusion. So that's where this field comes into existence, that is explainable AI. Just to convert that black box into white box means how we reach to the decision, right? If we are providing particular problem and ChatGPT is giving the answer, but let's say we want to know how that answer is derived. So for that purpose, this explainable AI will be there. Yes, it helps us to convert that black box into the white box. So actually, it's a part of generative AI itself. Then augmented analytics, you are dealing with this kind of data and data fabric. So data fabric is actually the architecture when this process is automated, data analysis process, so you need to work on various API. Means you need to develop end-to-end architecture. Means you will set up some architecture that with the help of API, you will fetch the data. That API will fetch from particular site. Then you just provide it to the specific library, and it will generate the visualization for you. I just told you about the web scraping. Let's say in case of web scraping, we are fetching the data from various websites. But generally, websites are secure. So for that purpose, not many gateways and all required. So that's why different APIs is being used to fetch the data. So they will set some environment. So that's why this concept is the data fabric. Means in case of fabric, all threads are connected with each other and it creates a flow. Similarly, for data analysis, they want to develop their customized end-to-end data analysis. So for that purpose, they will decide that this API will fetch the data from this, then data will be filtered, it will be provided as input to the library, and then it will generate some visualization for me. So this is how end-to-end they will develop. So this is what the data fabrics are there. So this is the again trending one. So these are the different trends currently in data analysis. Then I just wanted to discuss one case study. I have selected a very simple problem statement because here my intention is to tell you how we can extract the knowledge. Okay, so that's why I have selected a very simple data set. So Titanic, everyone aware about this Titanic movie. So based on this, the data set is there. We know that that Titanic incident was happened in this 1912. So here we need to predict whether particular passenger is survived or not. So how we can analyze this data set, how we can extract the knowledge, that I will demonstrate with the help of Python. So first of all, I just demonstrate this case study. I will explain it and then I just provide the files to you all so that you can do it. And also I will provide one sample data set. So there you can apply this and try to extract the knowledge. So I just demonstrate it case study. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate one case study here. So as I told you, I've selected a very simple data set called as a Titanic. So from that Titanic drill set, we have to extract some knowledge. So how we can extract some knowledge that we will see here. So I told you that this thing we are doing with the help of this Python. So initially I'm just importing these basic libraries, NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and Seaborn. And then I'm just using this just to remove the warnings here. If any warning will be there, it will be ignored. So for that purpose, I just included this, and then I'm just including this dataset. I'm just importing this dataset with the help of pandas. So I have just loaded the dataset here, and now I'm just importing. So here I have just uploaded this file. So I just imported the data set. So first of all, we just perform the basic EDA. So EDA is also called as a data analysis, exploratory data analysis. So initially we'll do some basic analysis. I just wanted to visualize how many different attributes are there. So here I can see that the attributes are passenger ID, survived, passenger class, name, gender, age, sibling, spouse, parent, child, ticket, pair, cabin, and embark. So these are the different attributes. So in this static data set, let's say your problem statement would be you want to predict whether passenger is survived or not. So before applying any of the algorithm, we'll do the data analysis. So here from this, first of all, you need to identify what are your dependent variable and what are your independent variable, or what are the variables which are of no use. So in order to predict that passenger is survived or not, in that case the name doesn't play any kind of role. Their passenger ID is also not going to play any kind of role. So initially you need to decide what attributes are useful and what attributes are not. So depending upon the problem statement, let's say here I want to predict whether person will survive or not. So there I can use this attribute as a survived. Okay, so 0 means no, passenger is not survived, 1 means yes, it is survived. So here I can say survived is my dependent variable and all other are my independent variable. So in this data set also there are n number of anomalies are there. So can you identify what are the problems in this data set? First thing we will remove passenger ID and the name. But other than this, do you feel any problem here? Can we provide this data as an input to directly algorithm? Ticket is not in the appropriate form. Okay. Age is there. Okay. So if we see here, age values are comparatively more compared to this survived and all. So here we required feature scaling. Okay. Again, in cabin you will find some of the values are null. Means these are the null values. So I need to handle this. So when you got the data set, you need to just with the help of this head, you can visualize it and you can decide this. So this is the basic thing that everyone aware about. Then after that, similar to head, I will just perform the tail to get the last five attributes. After that, I just wanted to get the shape, means number of rows and number of columns. So in this case, total 891 records and total 12 attributes are there. So that information I get from this shape attribute. Then I want to get statistical analysis. So if we are using this Python with pandas, it will provide us the statistical analysis for each and every attribute. So here passenger ID, what is the count, what is the mean value, standard deviation, minimum value, then this percentile values and max. So this is for all. So statistical analysis you will get by using this describe function. Then after that, I need to decide what are my categorical column and numerical column, because when we analyze our data set, it's very important to identify what type of attribute you have. Whether you have numerical values, means they are continuous in nature, and second would be categorical. Okay, so here survived, passenger class, gender, sibling, spouse, parent, child, and embark. These are my categorical and these are my numerical, because accordingly your technique is going to change. Okay, that's why you need to identify this. So we have identified that these are the attributes which are categorical and numerical. Then let's say I want to get more information. Means I want to know what is the attribute, what is the data type, whether null values are there or not. So here also I will get some idea. So from this, I can say that in case of age, there are some null values. That's why here you will see the count is 740. And in case of Kevin also, there are 204. But Kevin is not that much relevant. Okay. See, when you perform data analysis, everyone approach may vary. It's not like that this is the only one way. So I'm just discussing one of the approach that you can use, but it may vary from person to person. Somebody may think that particular attribute is important. Somebody think that no. That's why you will find a different analysis. So from this, I will get some information about the attribute. After that, what I do, I perform the advanced ETL. So very first, I will start with this, whether null value is there or not. So here also you have multiple things. You can use this is null function. So from this, I come to know in the age attribute, total 177 null values are there. In the KB 687 and in IMBA 2. So here, this age, I need to handle this. So in order to handle with null values, lot many strategies are there. So basic strategy would be directly remove this. Okay, but when we use this, so do you feel that in this particular problem, removing the null value is beneficial? Because here we have total 891 records. If we remove 177, means near about 200, I left with only 691. So it is not a best strategy. When you will use this strategy to remove the null value, let's say I have 10,000 records and there are only 10 records where we have null value. So there I will use this strategy. But here I will not use this since I will lose data. When you work in the field of data science, your data is precious. You will not afford to lose any of the data. So here I will handle this, right? So to handle the null value, I have different approach. I can replace this with the mean value, okay? Or I can replace with the previous value or next value. So in this case, the number of approaches is going to be different. So here we use the simple approach here. So we handle this with null age. Then KB doesn't play that much important. So directly I will remove this. And for embark. So embark is what kind of variable? It's a numeric or categorical. It's a categorical because embark is representing from which particular station passenger is onboarding into the ship. So that value is in the alphabet. So this is categorical. So I need to replace that value with a mode. Okay. So accordingly, you need to decide your strategy. So here I just decide this one. After that, you just mention your observation because when you are analyzing your data, you need to just present. Because let's say I have a data analyst and this data set is given by client B and I want to present. So here you need to write down your observation. What are the things that you are there? So I just observe here each cabin embark has missing value. More than 70% values are missing in the cabin and there are few columns which are inappropriate. So this is what the knowledge I have extracted, right? So this may vary from person to person, but this is what the client is expecting. That he is giving you the data set, so he expects that you should apply your critical thinking and extract the knowledge from that. So this is how I from this I done the observation. So again we'll generate more observation. So since Kevin is having 70% of the values are missing, so there is no sense in replacing that value. Instead of this, we will lose this part because if we are replacing 70% value with let's say a particular mean value or mode value, so it's a duplicate. It will generate a duplicate data. So there is no sense. So I'll take the decision that I will remove this column. So now here you will see that I'm just removing this column. With the help of this drop, I just remove this KBN attribute from this. So I will remove that. And again, I will just visualize the data whether KBN is removed or not. So I can see KBN is removed. After that, I'm just dealing with this missing bar with the age. Okay, so here I'm using very simple approach that I'm replacing the value of null value in the age with a mean value. That is one approach. But now here also you can use another approach. Another approach would be that you will replace the null values of age according to passenger class. So currently what I'm doing, I'm calculating the mean of age of all the passengers because if you consider here there are total three passenger classes are there, class 1, class 2 and class 3. So simple approach would be replace that null value with a mean value. But second approach is also there. You just calculate the mean class wise. Okay, you just calculate the mean of age class wise and then replace it. So this is slightly smarter approach that you can replace it because ultimately we want to get good result from the algorithm. So we should provide good data. That's why you can use this. So I'm using simple approach, but I just told you you can use another approach as well. So here I'm using this fill in a method to replace that null value. And then again I'm checking is there any null value present in the age or not. So here you can see I just handle the null value. Now again I will check. Now there are only two null values are there in the embark. So in case of embark, since it is a categorical variable, I cannot use mean. So for that purpose I am using the mode to handle that. So I just replace that value and now again I will check whether null value is present in this embark attribute or not. So here there is no embark. So this is how I deal with null value. Now next one is I want to check whether any duplicate data present in the data set or not. So for that purpose I am going to use this duplicated function. This function from finder you can use just to check whether duplicate record is present in the data set or not. So we just check here. So here we are getting blank. That means there is no duplicate record. So I just put my observation. There are no duplicate values. And now from here, actually the data analysis part. So in case of data analysis, there are three things. One is univariate analysis, second one is bivariate analysis, and third one is multivariate analysis. When I'm focusing only on one attribute, we call it as a univariate. When I focus on two, it is bivariate. And when I consider all the attributes, or let's say more than two, we call it as a multivariate analysis. So this kind of analysis we can do to extract more knowledge. Initially, we have done the basic investigation. Now we'll do more advanced investigation. So let's say very first, I want to know the analysis for survived column because in this case, my problem statement would be I want to predict whether passenger is going to survive in this case or not. So I should know. So I just use this count here. So I want to use get the count. So here you can see most of the passengers are died. So 549 0 means died, 1 means survived. So here you can see that only few passengers are survived. So this is the total count and survive is my dependent variable whose value I want to predict. Now I just wanted to generate visualization for this. So I just put this here. So I have generated the count plot here. Okay, I have generated the count plot and now see here, I just told you 60%, 62% of the people are dying, right? So when you provide the stats, if you provide like this, your client will get impressed that you are putting this facts to, okay? So out of this data set, 62% people has died and this is what the count plot which gives you idea that in the zero category we have more records as compared to one. So that visualization we can do, here we are using the Seaborn library for that. So this is one, and we call it as univariate because I'm considering only surveyed activity. Now, second thing, so I just made my observation. More people died here. Now next one is I just wanted to see class passenger class wise because I told you total here three passenger classes are there. So I want to analyze that which is a deadliest class or from which class most of the passengers have died, right? So here we have class 1, class 2, class 3. So most of the passengers from class 3 has died, or we can say most of the passengers are traveling by class 3. So there could be some reason. We may predict that generally the people think that why should pay more, so they are traveling with more, right? So this could be the reason. So that's why more number of passengers are traveling by passenger class three, then passenger class one, and then passenger class two. So this analysis you can get, and if you want to get the exact values, so here also you can see. in this particular class. So what I done, I just generated the count. Here 491 passenger in this class 3, 216 in class 1, 184 in this. And if you want to calculate in terms of percentage also, you can do it. So it's up to you how you are analyzing. Ultimately, our aim is to extract the knowledge. That's why everyone approach would be different. So this one, so from this we come to know most of the passengers are traveling by class 3. So here I just made observation. Maximum people is traveling to class 3 and 491 people is traveling to that. Then I want to do gender wise analysis, right? So for gender wise analysis, you can see that most of the passengers are male passengers, right? In the Titanic, we can say that most of the passengers are male passengers. So I apply univariate analysis on the gender attribute, and from this I come to know most of the passengers are male. So I just made my observation. Male passengers are more compared to female. And now next one I will do is sibling spouse. So actually it's a sibling spouse means how many pairs are there? Sibling and their spouse is traveling in that. So here you can see most of the passengers are traveling alone. They are not traveling with their spouse. Okay, so here you will get this since it is categorical in nature, you will find that. So most of the passengers are traveling alone. This is the knowledge that we extract from this. But if you want to see here, there are eight passengers. Sorry, there are only let's say two to three passengers. They are traveling with spouse. So this is the count actually. Okay, so that we can generate here. So my observation would be maximum passengers are not traveling with their sibling or spouse. Around 600 passengers traveling alone. So from this, then around 250 passengers are traveling. Means if we consider the addition of remaining, so that's why I'm saying that 250 passengers are traveling with their sibling spouse. Next one would be I just wanted to. It is very much similar to sibling spouse. So actually another attribute would be the parent child. That particular attribute is representing how many passengers traveling with spouse, and this is how many passengers they are traveling with their children. So again here, most of the passengers are traveling alone. They are not traveling with their children. So this is another fact that we have extracted. After that, I just wanted to know from which particular station most of the passengers onboarded on the ship. So here you can see that most of the passengers onboarded on ship on S. S is actually Southampton. S, these are the station code, just like that we are in the station code. So for this station codes are there. So most of the passengers onboarded on the ship from the Southampton. There are total three stations are there. So this is another knowledge I expected that most of the passengers are traveling from Southampton. So I just made a observation here, maximum passenger traveling from station code S. Then I just wanted to see age distribution because when you work in the stats, you will find that skewness. It is left skewed, right skewed, or it is normally distributed. So here I just wanted to see the passengers who are traveling in the Titanic, whether their age is normally distributed or it is left skewed or right skewed. So that's why I generated this distribution plot. So here you will see the bell shaped curve. So you can see that most of the passengers are in the range of 20 to 40. So this is what the knowledge I expected. There are only few passengers whose age is near about 1 and it's 8, right? So distribution plot will give me this. And again this one also. If you found left skew data, you need to remove the skewness. Otherwise you will not get good performance. That's why when you have numeric variable, you need to check skewness as well. Because we want data to be normally distributed. Even while deciding the grade, we are following this, right? We want all these marks to be normally distributed. So same thing is also there. Here we want normal distribution. So that we are done. After that, I'm just checking is there any outlier present in the age attribute or not. Since age is my numeric variable, I can apply outlier detection because there could be some age which is beyond the range as compared to other. That is the outlier. So for that, I'm using this box plot. So box plot is helping me, and these are the outliers because this is the box plot. So in the box plot, what we have, the dots you will see. Okay, these are the outliers and these are the outliers because outliers is nothing but the extreme values. It may present at the upper side or it may present in the lower side. So these are the outliers. So I need to handle this. So for handling the outline, I'm using the simple approach. But before that, I just wanted to extract more knowledge. Okay. See here, actually here the query knowledge is used, SQL. That's why I told you that for data analysis, SQL knowledge is also important. So here I just applied this queries kind of thing and I just extracted the knowledge. The number of people having the age between 20 to 40 is 577. Because from that normal distribution, I can see most of the people are in the range of 20 to 40. So their count is 577. Then people whose age is in the range of 60 to 75 are that's 25. I can say senior citizen is 25. People having the age above 75 is one, okay, and people whose age is below one are 40. Means newly born babies are also traveling in this title. So this is how we are extracting the knowledge and we are building the story. The data set is given to you and you need to build the story. So one by one you need to extract the knowledge and you just present your knowledge here. That's why you just put in the form of observation. So here SQL is also beneficial because you are extracting that knowledge from this. Then I'm just handling this outline here. So I just use this simple method of flooring and capping. So I just told you that when you are dealing with the outliers, you have multiple methods. You can apply Z-score method and all. But here I'm using flooring and capping method. Its method is very simple. Suppose I'm just calculating the 10 percentile and the 90 percentile, and if given value is less than 10 percentile, I will replace it by 10 percentile, and if the given value is greater than 90 percentile, I will replace it. Means we need to handle that extreme values because extreme value is present on left side as well as the right side. So for left side, I am using this flooring, and this one is the capping. So by using this method, I am handling this. So I just run this and now again I will generate the box plot just to check is there any outlier or not. Now all my outliers are handled. So here you can see there is no outlier. So this is how I handle the outlier for the age attribute. Now we perform bivariate analysis. Okay, we perform univariate analysis and we have extracted few knowledge here. And now we perform bivariate analysis. So means we consider two attributes at the same time. So very first, I just do bivariate analysis for surveyed and passenger class. So this will give me the idea class wise passenger surveyed. So here this is the class 3 and we know that 0 is representing not surveyed. So most of the passenger are died from class 3. So what is the reason? Because I know that number of passengers are traveling more by class 3. So obviously their tide ratio is more. But here I have two attributes. On the x-axis survived and on the y-axis we have the passenger class. So passenger class wise I have just given the distribution. That and from clearly I can see most of the passengers are died. But what is a class from where most of the passengers are survived? That is class 1. So maybe more preference is given to them. That would be one reason. Second reason that as their count is less, so maybe they survived, right? So there could be a number of reasons. That's the story building. You need to apply your assumption, critical thinking, and what could be the possible reasons. Let's say I'm thinking that most of the passengers are onboarded on class 3, that's why the die ratio is more. But most of the passengers survived from class 1 because they may be given more privilege while rescue operation is being takes place. So that could be my thinking. So that's why that you can see. So this we can understand by using bivariate analysis. Then I will do gender wise. Gender wise analysis I will do. So now see here, most of the passenger who died in that incident was male. So maybe more preference was given to female while performing that rescue operation. So that is clearly indicated from this, right? So here you can see this many only female died and this many males died. Okay, so that is again more priority is given to female in the Titanic. Then we do the bivariate analysis station wise. So again, if we know from which particular station most of the passenger died, so obviously from Southampton because their count is more because most of the passenger onboarded. So obviously dying percentage is. So here from this you get this. So this is what the bivariate analysis. Now we do multivariate analysis. So why do we require multivariate analysis? Actually, multivariate analysis is required to decide whether my data set is linearly separable or my data set is non-linearly separable. So all of you aware about this? What is the meaning of linearly separable and non-linearly separable? Uh, so I will show this. So can we say this is linearly separable? Can we say that this particular plot is linearly separable? No, it is non-linearly separable. Can I have marker? See, when you work in this, you will find two things linearly separable and non linearly separable. Let's say, suppose I have two classes and I have data like this. So, if I find this kind of graph, I can say this is linearly separable. But suppose I found like this, so this is non-linearly separable. So why do we require? Because based on this, you will decide what kind of machine learning you will apply. Let's say if your data set is non-linearly separable, you can go for linear regression, you can go for logistic regression, simple algorithm you can use. But if your data set is non-linearly separable, then you can go for ensemble learning, decision tree, random forest, XGBoost, AdaBoost, this kind of algorithm. So that's why this multivariate analysis is important. So from this, you will get to know that whether my data is linearly separable or non-linearly separable. That's why we are plotting all this on the x-axis and the y-axis. So most of our data is non-linearly separable. So here I need to use more advanced algorithm. That's what my conclusion. Then yes. So here for gender. So do you feel that is there any problem in the gender attribute? Is there any problem in the gender attribute that you see? Yes, actually here the values are in the character form, string values. So when you provide this data set as an input to the algorithm, it only considers numeric values. So here we need to apply encoding technique. So that encoding would be either label encoding or one-hot encoding. So here I'm using this label encoding. Sorry, one-hot encoding I'm using here. So it will generate the dummy values, and then here you can see in case of this, I just use that. So gender one not encoding you can use here. So simple. Let's say I have two attributes here. Sorry, two values are there in the gender, male and female. So now here also, how can you see that whether male is represented by 0, 1? These two possibilities are there, 0, 1 and 1, 0. But where how this encoding can be done? So again, it is done in alphabetical order. So F come first, and then male. So 1, 0 is represented by female, 1, 0 representing female, and 0, 1 is representing the male. And generally, while you doing this, we are removing these first. That's why here you can see female column is removed. Female column is removed means what? See, here value is 0, that means it is female, and here the value is 1, that means it is male. So this particular attribute is removed. See, why do we require to remove this attribute? The reason is very simple. When you work in a very large data set, number of attributes should not be more. If the number of attributes are very high, so in that case you may face a problem that you face the problem of overfitting. That's why we are removing this. So I have just converted that value there for one not encoding. After that, I will generate the heat map. Okay, so here, can you tell me which is the most important attribute for the survival of the passenger? This is a heat map. All attribute on the x-axis and all other attribute on the y-axis. So from this, can you tell me which is the most important attribute for the survival of the passenger? Passenger ID, no, actually passenger ID you have to remove and not remove that side. So just ignore this column and consider all. So it's a heat map. It is based on the correlation value that is in the range of -1 to +1. So you need to look for this particular one. So because here you will find that. So which is the highest value? This one, 0.08. This is the parent child. This one is the attribute. Okay, sorry, this one. I think this one is gender minus 0.54 because the values of correlation lies in the range of -1 to +1. So it is not a case that if the value is minus, it is not important. Negative representing what? X is directly proportional to y means positive, and if it is inversely proportional means negative. So here we can see that this gender attribute is most important. And even we have seen that they have given more preference to female. Okay, so the gender is the attribute which affects more to the survival of passage. This is how you can extract the knowledge from this. So this is multivariate analysis through heat map. And now I will do feature scaling. So why I am doing feature scaling here? Because in case of this, we have seen that the age values are more as compared to others. So I can do two things. So for feature scaling, you have two options: either go for standardization or normalization. If you do standardization, its values are in the range of -infinity to +infinity. But if you are doing the normalization with the help of min max scalar, then values are in the range of 0 to 1. So here I am applying normalization with the help of mean max scalar. So here I will show you. I'll execute this, and then we can visualize it. So here you can see that these values of age are in the range of 0 to 1. So we have normalized these values in the range of 0 to 1. So we apply feature scaling. Now we do. I have added one more thing: statistical analysis. I will talk about the hypothesis testing. So I have added one component so that you will get some flavor. So here I will apply chi-square test. So this chi-square test is used to find is there any relationship exists between two attributes or not. So for that purpose, I need to use this stats model from this SciPy, and here I will apply chi-square. So when we are doing hypothesis testing, you need to specify two things. One is null hypothesis, and second one is the alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis is what means my aim is to know whether there is a relationship between servant and gender or not. Okay, so that is what. So what I'm saying, there is no relationship. Means when you want to prove something, you have to take the opposite of that, right? So that's why I'm taking the null hypothesis. And exactly opposite to null hypothesis, there is alternate hypothesis. So I just specified my null hypothesis that there is no relationship between servant and gender. And exactly opposite to this alternate hypothesis, there is a relationship. So that is the first step in the hypothesis testing. And then I will apply the chi-square test. For this, I will use this cross-tab table. And here I'm just generating the p-value. So now see here actually the p-value is generated as 0, and generally in this case the value is 0.05. So that you may vary, okay, but generally the alpha value is taken as 0.01, means 5% margin we are giving. If the value p-value is what? It's a probability of null hypothesis to be true. So it will generate the p-value. If the p-value is less than this, I will reject the null hypothesis. Otherwise, I will accept. So in this case, we reject the null hypothesis, and we accept the auto deductions. So this is how we can do the hypothesis testing as well. So here I apply chi-square test. So similarly, here you have ANOVA test, chi-square test, T test, Z test. This kind of test you can apply. So that you can do. And finally, I will separate my variable into dependent and independent. Because in this case, my problem statement is I want to know whether passenger is surveyed or not. So this is my dependent and all these are my independent. So this is how I just perform analysis of my data. I just extracted the knowledge and I prepare the data. Now my data is ready. I can provide this data as an input to the machine learning algorithm and I can train it. So finally, I just added all these observations. I talk about the storytelling, right? So here, these are the observations. This is the story that we have generated. So as a data analyst, I need to generate this story. So the chances of female survival is more than male. Traveling in passenger class is the deadliest one because we have seen passenger onboarded from sea survived more. Then the passenger traveling in small families had a higher chance of surviving. So this is the knowledge that we have extracted, and this is the story that we have built. So your client is looking for this kind of observation, and this will come through critical thinking along with the programming knowledge because we have applied so many things, extracted the knowledge, and based on this we have coded this observation. So this thing we have done in a manual way. Now I will show you one of the automated ways to do that. Okay, it has some limitation automation, but still you can do it with the help of pandas profiling. But till now, all of you clear? Got some idea how we can do it? Okay. Now I will do automation based. So for that purpose, I'm using this library called as a pandas profile. So I'm not saying that it is a foolproof, but it will help you up to some level. It will help us analysis. So for that, you need to install this package. So I will install this and directly just provide the data set as an input. So for automation, we are using this pandas profiling. So I'm just installing that package and then we just provide the data set so that it will generate some report for us. And then I'm just providing this data set as an input to this and I'm generating the report. Now, it will generate the report for me. It is giving me some error, but it's a package issue. I will tell you about this. But I just wanted to show you what kind of report it will generate. I will show you this thing. This is the report. This kind of report you will get. Actually, that is a package issue only. I resolve this, but I just wanted to show you this. See, pandas profile will generate this kind of report. See here, data set statistics, variables. So it will generate some visualization stats part for each and every attribute. Because it is not 100% foolproof that we are doing it manually, but somehow it helps us in the data analysis part. So you can generate a report like this by using pandas profile. For each and every attribute, you will get missing values and all. And here you can have this different scatter plot as well. You want to generate here. You can select this on the x-axis and y-axis. You can do some kind of analysis, age, sibling spouse. So you can select on the x-axis and y-axis. Then the correlation bitmap. Here you will not get values, but with the help of color coding, it will show us the correlation between all the attributes. Then missing values. Here you can see we know that in the age column there are missing values. So this is automated. In a single click we got all this information. So for missing value, then this is the max sample data. First rows, last rows. So all this I get this with the help of pandas profiling. So I just tell you about this here. Actually, library problem is there. Let me show you. So till that time, what I'll do, I will share this file. You just try to run it. And after that, I'm also sharing one sample data set, art data set. So just like we have generated the story for this titling, so I want you all, you can work on heart attack analysis data set. So this is the data set of heart attack analysis. I want to predict whether given patient will suffer from heart attack or not. So the process we have done on the titling, I want you all to do same process on this data set. So I'll share all this file with you, so you can try to run titling, and then you can try this. How can I share? Means in WhatsApp. I don't have.
सर उसे शेयर मैडम को शेयर करिए
मैडम ठीक है मैडम को शेयर नहीं अपन शेयर करेंगे हो